All right, here we are. We're at the summit of Pikes Peak, and I'm talking to Susan Guynn, and she's the operations lead for the Pikes Peak Ascent and Marathon. We're about 3 days out from the Pikes Peak Ascent, and Susan, you've got a big job.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
My job is basically to make sure that any of the other activities on the mountain, and that includes anything from the expo starting on Thursday through finish line on Sunday, has what they need to get their job done. And that's kind of my job, is just to make sure it's all there.
Yep, exactly. It's Wednesday, the Ascent goes on Saturday, and what are we doing up here today?
Actually, we're doing several things. Main purpose is to do the hose lay that will go from up here at the top of the mountain right down the face.
Yep.
And we'll supply the water to the Cirque aid station, which is about halfway, 2/3 of the way up the long stretch across going into the Cirque.
Yep, you're literally just laying garden hose right down the side of the mountain.
Just garden hose, and we just rely on the gravity feed to supply it, and it does a beautiful job.
How many feet of hose you got going?
You would ask me that. It's 12 times 150. So what is that, 1,800?
About 1,800, yeah.
1,800 plus another 300, so 2,100 feet of hose.
That's awesome. And now getting water to, and over the weekend we'll have probably somewhere around 2,500 runners, 2,400 to 2,500 runners, and you got to get water to all of them up here. 2,400
by the time it's over.
Yeah.
Or 28 and 9 is 2,600 runners.
Something like that. Yeah.
I lose track. I never see the runners.
The air is thin on top of Pikes Peak, and it's a little hard to think.
Yeah, we have 1,600 and 9 is 20.
So are you bringing the tank up here, or are you just hooking into the spigot up here?
This year, because traditionally we had water tanks supplied by CSU, and they just put them on the back of pickup trucks. This year, because CSU is not in the scene, we've come up with a whole lot of different scenarios for what we're doing on the mountain. But up here in particular, we are actually renting a little U-Haul from Bill's Tool Rental.
Yep.
Putting a 600-gallon tank that we acquired earlier this summer.
Yep.
Strapping it down, filling it up, and we have a Pinsgauer coming down from Denver who's actually going to haul it up here for us because they can carry the weight.
Yep. Gotcha. And at A-frame station, you're taking it right out of the creek, is that right?
Correct.
Pumping water right out of the creek.
They pump it out of the creek.
That's awesome.
Bill, the lead down there right now, is actually taking the pumps with him to just check and make sure everything's going to work and doing an inventory. They go down Friday morning early and start pumping water because it takes them that long to get enough water for the ascent together. And then all during the ascent, they pump after they serve all the runners. They start pumping again for Sunday. So they have a hard job there. They have to camp in or hike in. They camp overnight for 2 nights and serve runners for 2 days, and then have to physically work where the rest of us.
Because there are no roads going in there.
Right.
Exactly. And then I told somebody the other day that doing operations for a race that runs 13 miles up the side of Pikes Peak is a little bit like occupying another country.
It's a little bit, we have 3 aid stations that are actually based from Bar Trail itself, and then Bar Camp, of course.
Right.
Bar Camp gets its stuff. We send that up on Friday on the train. And they shuttle it over from Mountain View on Friday to set that one up.
Right.
Bob's Road and No Name we put in place, actually we started putting in place on Sunday. We checked the incline hose lay, and we have tanks at the top of the incline and then at No Name and Bob's Road. And they set up right there on the trail, but we can access those with vehicles. So
you're positioning tanks at the top of the incline and running hose down the incline.
Just one big huge one.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And we're only really talking about part of the ops job. There's the whole transportation thing about getting runners off the mountain. That's a whole new deal in itself. How many vans and buses do you guys rent?
We have 35 vans that will do just from the summit, either summit and just due to Devil's Playground shuttle, because most all the tourists also have to pull off at Devil's Playground, so we help with shuttling that. The other piece of it is they go down to
Glen Cove.
Thank you.
That's all right.
And there they transfer into school buses, and I believe we have 15 or 17 school buses.
Wow.
That help us on Saturday. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then, you know, we were finger touching through it. By the time the whole weekend is done, we have got 85 vehicles.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
85 vehicles.
Under our purvey.
Total, how many volunteers do we have working this weekend?
I'm going to ballpark 500 to 600.
Wow.
Maybe even more this year, because our volunteer coordinator's actually done an incredible job.
Yeah.
We feel like we're almost overstaffed. I mean, we always find something for somebody to do, but this is the first year that somebody doesn't feel like they're struggling.
Right, exactly. And when do you guys start working on this race?
Monday. The day after the race, we start making plans and actually start calling everybody that helped us out and just say, go ahead and put us on your books, that kind of thing. Yeah. Truly starting to work on it's probably latter part of April, certainly by the 1st of May.
Right.
Because a lot of what we do, we tie into the Garden of the Gods and the Summer Roundup as well. Right,
gotcha. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.